The last one being Armagh Monaghan. Look, yeah, this would be an interesting one.
I think a big standout thing for me in Armagh Monaghan is straight away is the battle of the number ones. Ethan Rafferty versus Rory Beggan. I think it's going to have a major impact on the game. I do believe that Armagh will feel, particularly after the McKenna Cup this year, where they caught Rory Beggan for a couple of goals. I think Armagh will fancy going after Rory Beggan. They'll probably see vulnerabilities in Rory Beggan's kickouts. Monaghan, the old dog for the hard road, and every single narrative surrounding Monaghan seems to be the same narrative all the time. Great, unbelievable, maximising their resources, doing really well. But people also forget that the structures are really good in Monaghan. Their minors are in all out of final. Let's not forget that. Their under-20s were in an Ulster final 2 years ago. Were beaten by a very good down team, and it was unfortunately a week after young Duffy had died in the car crash. Got Lord rest his soul, and that was a massive loss. He was the captain of that team, and who's to say that team wouldn't have went on and won in All Ireland? If the young lad had been playing. But Monaghan have had a historical record of good underage success, and I don't think people probably doing their research realise that. Their school structure is still very strong as well. Their development squads are coached by good people. They have a good S&C structure in place, and that has helped Monaghan bring through, the Michael Bannigans of this world, and these boys now are stepping up. And Ryan O'Toole and these guys, they're stepping up now and replacing, the Drew Wileys, the Conor McManuses, because they can't go on forever, unfortunately, But the last day was interesting. Like Conor McManus, Ryan Wiley, Kieran Hughes, three stalwarts of that group, came off the bench against Kildare. Carlo and Conor McCarthy, for me, are as good half-backs as there is at the present moment in time. They're very, very hard. They're direct runners. McCarthy was an inside forward, so he has that guile when he gets into that scoring zone as well. He showed that last weekend against Kildare when he kicked the winner with the outside of his foot in clutch time. It's a really, really hard game to call. Armagh had a hugely significant win the last day. That was a massive win for Armagh. It was a massive win for Kieran McGeeney, massive win for his management team. To go to Carrick and Shannon, you could literally say go to Galway because it was in Connacht. To travel into Connacht and beat Galway in Connacht in a must-win game was absolutely huge. And that was without Rian O'Neill. And you look at their forward line of Duffy, of Grugan, of Callum Comiskey the last day, Conor Turbot, Andrew Murnan, Stephen Campbell. They have a spread of forwards who are capable of hurting you. One thing that Armagh probably have over Monaghan is their ability to be able to mix their game up. And Croke Park is a pitch that suits a kicking style. It's a game that suits you mixing your game up. You can't just run the ball the whole time. So Armagh have it in their locker. They have the experience of the bad experience of last year, that they have the internal motivation of putting that right. And you're just wondering how much more can Monaghan dig into those deep reserves, that they're digging into. They've dug in really, really hard against Derry. They've dug in really hard later on to beat Clare. Clare should have beaten them. They dug in massively last weekend against Kildare, to get over the line. They were beaten by Donegal at home, and I just don't know. I just think that the Croke Park could be just a step too far for them. I think that the pace and athleticism that Armagh have, they're a very, very well-conditioned team. I watched them very, very closely in the semi-final against Down this year in Ulster. They dismantled Down in the semi-final just through pure and utter physicality and conditioning. It was unbelievable. And the likes of Ben Creeley has been unearthed there as a big option in around the middle of the field. Kieran Mackin, very athletic as well. The one question area I have is Ethan Rafferty's kickouts and their full back line. If there's a major press from Roscommon or from Monaghan, and they really get after him and go hard and aggressive, could they get some joy? Could the kick out maybe malfunction? Quite possibly. And the other thing maybe just is the big question marks maybe over Armagh's fullback line with Paddy Burns, Kieran Higgins. Ian Falker's obviously an absolute warrior for them, real warrior, and has done a match-up job in the past for them. But just in Croke Park, and the pace of the pitch plays, you might be just concerned slightly for them. But look, listen, Monaghan are probably the team that Armagh wanted, but at the same time, Armagh are probably the team that Monaghan wanted, and that's the beauty about this game. Again, it's a very, very difficult game to call. Very, very difficult game to call.
It'd be a huge setback, Stevie, for Armagh now if they didn't get over this. In terms of the way they've been building nicely over the last couple of years. Obviously, this is the first year under Vinnie Curry for Monaghan, so it's kind of a year one project, and he's established themselves as in Division 1 status, and he's had a good, decent championship run, getting to a quarter final from where they were at the start of the year, getting hockeyed first couple of league games, especially down in Kerry. I remember that game down in Kerry, and they got dismantled entirely. And look, as you said there is players coming through. It's just amazing to me. Like Conor McCarthy, as you said there, he was a corner forward, and now the half back line facing goal. You're getting on more ball. You're getting on more ball, and now you're kind of hearing the centre back is the quarterback. That's the way the language has gone here. And that was one of Mayo's kind of things with Conor Loftus this year in terms of putting him centre back. So it's amazing how teams are evolving from today's game. Like, so look, I agree with you. I just think Armagh further down the road here, and the players they have, obviously to me they've a better forward line. Obviously we need to come back in there. Conor Herbert, Rory Grugan, Stephen Campbell, obviously he's a guy to come on if he doesn't start. So look, it's you're if this wasn't a local derby, I would say Armagh would win this kind of comfortably. I think they're I'm not going to say a much better team than Monaghan, but I think they are a better team than Monaghan here. But the fact that it's kind of local derby, it's kind of it adds a bit more spice to it. So look, it'll be as you're saying there, the boys that came on, Darren Hughes still started midfield for them the last day. So and the boys come off the bench, Conor McManus and Kieran Hughes and them sort of boys, Drew Riley. Like, so look, where do you think Armagh are going from? They are mixing their games up this year in terms of their running and kicking here, and their own mass defence and their pressing, and are they going to do the same here on Saturday? It is Saturday, isn't it? Saturday this Saturday, yeah. Saturday, yes.
Saturday, yeah.
So like, is Monaghan going to play the same game as the Derry game? Is it going to be a mirror image? The two teams going to copy each other here?
Listen, Monaghan have to set up defensively. They have to set up defensively to sort of quell that Armagh forward line, because there is a lot of pace, there's a lot of athleticism in the Armagh forward line. They can hurt you. Particularly with Rian O'Neill back in now, he'll probably float between middle of the field, full forward. There's that flexibility there. But even if you take Rian O'Neill out, they still have the likes of Turbot and Andrew Murnan inside, real good ball winners. Stephen Campbell adds something different as well, different dynamic. Duffy's a powerful player as well. But look, for me, and the game is now played 15v15, but it's not really 15v15, it's 15v14. So when you have possession of the ball, goalkeeper coming out, Ethan Rafferty coming out, Oren Lynch coming out, they're creating that extra player, against these mass defences. And when a team does that, Ethan Rafferty is probably the most effective player in the country at playing the fly goalkeeper. Is he the most effective goalkeeper? No, probably technically not. And his kickouts maybe at times, haven't been, at the level of Sean Patton or a Niall Morgan. But the fascinating thing will be their influence from open play. I don't think Rory Beggan is as effective in open play. I think his kickouts are phenomenal. I think his place kicking is excellent. But Rafferty brings a completely different dynamic. He's an outfield inter-county player. He will give you that wee bit extra in Croke Park. He was doing it. He's been doing it a lot more this year probably than he was last year. Armagh haven't really played any really differently to what they've been playing. I think Armagh have been hugely unlucky. I've said this for a number of weeks now. They were beaten in Kerry by a point. They were beaten a last-minute goal, a mistake from the goalkeeper against Galway in the league as well. They were very grossly unlucky to be relegated. They were very, very unlucky in the group game against Tyrone. They could have had 2 or 3 goals early in the game, didn't take them. I think if Armagh can hit a few early scores in this game, Enda, I think their confidence will grow. I think that'll give them great belief, and I think then they'll win the game, and they'll win the game comfortably if they get a few early scores. If they don't take their scores and they leave Monaghan in the game, Monaghan will do what Monaghan do. They'll hang in, and they'll be around there towards the tail end of the game when things get nervy. And listen, there's probably no better team in the country at producing something against the odds and digging it out. But the interesting thing, Enda, about this is, if Armagh do come through this game, and Armagh were to play Dublin or Mayo, or Armagh were to play Derry, or Armagh were to play Kerry or Tyrone, they'd probably go into the semi-final as underdogs. And that's the mad thing. They're going into this game as red-hot favourites, but they could go into a semi-final. So I actually think what you said is correct. If Armagh can get over the line this weekend, Armagh might not be too far away from winning All-Ireland. And I'm telling you that now.
We'll see. On that note, Stevie, we'll leave it there, man. We'll talk next week.
Good man, Enda.
Cheers.